everybody. It's Mono e Mamo tonight.
Mono
Just
e
us.
Mamo. That's what we call episodes when it's just.
We've never called it that before.
Never a single time before. All right, this is The Burial. We're returning to Amazon Prime for The Burial because I didn't really think about it because this is one of those ones that's kind of filling in the slots between bigger movies. And I was looking at the roster of the most recent Amazon Prime movies, and it was Cassandra. We did Red, White, and Royal Blue. So like a theme here, because I'll point out the theme when we get to the critical scores. But did you know anything about The Burial going in?
Yeah, no, not a thing. Which I think is probably a good. It's a good thing. You shouldn't know about it when you. Yeah. How about you?
I had not heard. Didn't think I had heard about it because we were just looking for the in between episode between bigger things, and it was like, oh, this we fell for the trap again. Oh, it's streaming, high score. Oh, surely it's gonna be fine. And then I look at the cover and I'm like, oh, I have seen not this, but I have seen trailers or ads for this. It's Jamie Foxx and what's
Tommy
his name?
Lee Jones.
And Tommy Lee Jones. What can I think of Tommy Lee Jones? Jamie Foxx and Tommy Lee Jones, and they're like the cross-armed opposites on a big flashy plain background, and it just says The Burial. And I assumed incorrectly that was just like some new sitcom they were pushing, because that's what it looks like. It looks like, oh, they're going to be opposing lawyers, and it's like Odd Couple, and it's going to be like going to be a comedy on like a big network or something. But nope, it's a courtroom drama film, 2 hours, based on a real thing. Apparently,
right.
This is what it's based on, actually. William
Yeah.
E. Gary, an unconventional lawyer, helps Jeremiah Joseph O'Keefe, a funeral home owner with financial troubles, save his family business from a corporate behemoth. This is a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, 83 with the audience, 7.1 IMDb, and I gave my whole little thing there. Thought it was. That's what it looks like. Isn't that what it looks like when you scroll through Amazon?
It looks like somebody had 12 minutes to put together a promo for this.
It looks very, like cheap, like a throw up on a billboard. Like,
right, it could be Pretty Woman, as far as I know. Like
it tells you nothing about what it's going to be at all.
Right, right. I don't know how it could. I mean, I guess they could have put a funeral home in the background, but yeah.
I guess we'll get into it now, because if you haven't seen The Burial, it's on Amazon Prime. And we're going to go into spoilers now. So I give you the basics feel. It's based on a true story. 1990s. This happens. 1995. Mm-hmm. We start with Joseph O'Keefe and Jeremiah Joseph O'Keefe, and that's Tommy Lee, and he's going to sell his business, his Mississippi State Insurance business, because he's got financial problems, and he's going to sell to Raymond Loewen of the Loewen Group. He's got a contract that they're going to it's an oral agreement, handshake contract, and we fast forward to some time not too far in the future, a couple months down the line, and they are stalling the Loewen Group. They are taking a long time, and it's a business tactic because the land will get devalued, and Tommy Lee Jones will run into more financial troubles, and he will be forced to sell at an even lower tactic. It's a dirty business tactic, is what it is.
Yeah.
And what he's trying to try to sue. He's going to try to sue and get recoup damages. And he's got his typical lawyer, Connor from Succession, who, if you are in the Deep South, you do not want Connor from Succession being your lawyer, because your jury of peers are not going to look at Connor from Succession as a person that they like. So instead,
Cameron, he was Cameron in the Ferris Bueller's Day Off, so I call him Cameron.
Yeah,
Don't want him.
But like nowadays, like I don't look at him now and be like, oh, like he 40 years ago, he looks like a very different man at this point. So
yeah, he does.
Anyway, so he's got to call in outside help. He calls in Willie E. Gary, who's like an ambulance chaser kind of guy. Like he's a flashy, like oh, you got a back and neck problems, you call Willie. Willie will get you out of this problem. And he has all this, and he gets all showboaty in court. That's a shtick. And so he's going to get him because he's going to appeal to the predominantly black Jerry Moore, has a team of black lawyers. And then on the other side, you have Jurnee Smollett's character, Mame Downs, representing the Lowen group, and she has her own team of like the finest black lawyers in the country, and so they're all gonna come down for this case involving little old Tommy Lee Jones wanting to get his insurance money business thing, but he's also stubborn. He's got his wife, and it's not about just the money. It's that he's wronged me. It's courtroom drama with that kind of stuff in it. And I think that's enough. Molly, what did you think of The Burial?
Well, think about like watching a movie that is about a breach of contract, because that's really what this is. Like, that's the nuts and bolts of it, if you look from a substance point of view. But it is, it is about Jamie Foxx's character, Willie, just being the biggest preacher / salesman / attorney that you can imagine. He's really good at it, I think. I think he's very convincing as this character. The point of reference they use is Johnny Cochran from the O.J. Simpson case, because that was going on at the same time, I think, that this time frame, this piece was happening. So
it was
it's kind
concurrent, pretty close.
Yeah, interesting. But I mean, everybody in the world, or everybody in the United States, knew Johnny Cochran's name at the time, and that he also was. I don't think he was an ambulance chaser per se, but he was definitely a
personality.
A personality, yeah, more obviously like kind of a flamboyant, in a preachy sense kind of way. So, this is I've never heard of this case, but afterwards I was reading up a little more, and this guy took on big dudes. Like he took on what this Willie character took on Anheuser-Busch and the Walt Disney Company, and won both times. So, he's a substantive person. And he's used to getting, we find out, we know in the beginning that he's used to getting all of this money. And really at the beginning, Tommy Lee Jones' character just really wants what he thinks he deserves out of what the contract is for, what he thinks he deserves out of this. And even though it's, you said that it's because he doesn't want the big guy to get away with it. That's part of it too. But he also kept saying, I need to leave something to my kids. And then you find out at some point he's got like, what do you say, 13
Oh yeah, he has a
kids?
legion of children. He has like 13 kids, and like I looked it up after. He has like 50 great grandkids or something. Like he has a town that he has sired. Yeah. Right.
And I'm thinking because in the beginning I was like, he has not only does he have this funeral insurance business, but he owns funeral homes in like most of the funeral homes in southern Mississippi. And I'm trying to figure out, like, if you have that kind of, cachet and, everybody dies, so you got to go somewhere. Why is he so financially strapped? And then I'm like, well, 13 kids. That'll do too.
13 kids. That's a lot of downstream effect. I mean, this is a while ago. This is not now. I can't imagine you do 13 kids now, but this is 13 kids in.
It's still only 30 years ago. It's not. I mean, and I didn't
years
know
ago, but also Tommy Lee Jones is an old man in this, so like his kids are not kids. He's raising these children in the 60s and 70s.
Probably, because he was a World War II veteran. So
there you go. We're back on track now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but still, even then, well, and maybe in Mississippi maybe you did have that many kids. I don't know.
Well, he's like big cheese. He owns a bunch of stuff. I mean, he owns.
I guess he does, but I don't. Yeah. So I didn't have any expectations going into this, but. Interesting story. Really glad that they didn't. I mean, you have to do courtroom stuff because it's a courtroom drama, but if we had to rely on going through all of whatever the contract dispute was, I would have ripped my eyes out. It was just basically the good meat parts of it where, they're playing to the jury, and where certain things happen that maybe are unexpected. So I mean, I like this. It was for what it was worth, and it's an interesting story that it's or biographical, semi-biographical. Yeah, it was 2 hours. Every movie's 2 hours or more. So, I'm okay with this so far.
Yeah, it's all right. It's fine. I don't. What do I? These Prime movies. They lie 91%. Yeah, it's a fine 3-star movie, but like, it kind of does actually match its banner cover, in that it is a little made for TVE. And we said the same thing about Cassandra. We said the same thing about the red, white, and blue thing. I said the same thing years ago about Uncle Frank. Like, I don't really see a thumbprint so much on streaming movies for the most part. Like, if it comes out on Hulu versus Netflix versus a small indie movie that came out and then it just gets picked up, like, I usually don't see a fingerprint difference. The Prime movies have a fingerprint of, like, not being a real movie on them. There's something about them that is extremely always down the middle, like resemble they've been writing movies with AI for a while or something and haven't told anybody, or like I don't know. There's something so samey, safe about this comparatively.
Well, yeah, there's things. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with it that there's no, like, you don't have a seminal moment where things go awry or whatever. You always know there's going to be a little bit of a bump in the road, but it's never like a mountain. It's always a bump in the road, and then you're back to, what you expected to happen. So I see what you're saying.
It's everything is a thing from another thing in such a plug and play way, in a shockingly plug and play way. Like, you have to have Alan Ruck and Jamie Foxx have their conflict over who's the main lawyer, and then in the courtroom, like, that's 45 minutes of the conflict is Alan Ruck's grandfather was Ku Klux Klan member, and what are other background things? Tommy Lee Jones did a dealing with a guy, and he's a felon, but he wasn't a felon at the time, so it's like a twisting of the words. Like, the courtroom drama-y stuff is just like, whatever. It's just like whatever any other courtroom drama would be. Like, I don't find these particular evidence pulls. There's no shots that I'm like, that's the shot. No music that's like, I'm coming along. The characters are like I've seen the Johnny Cochran movie version before. That's I mean, it's nice. I've seen the Tommy Lee Jones, "Oh shucks, farmer, I'm standing up for what's right in my family." That's every Tommy Lee Jones character. So, and nothing's bad. But what are we doing? But like, what are we doing? Like what is it? What like? Are we gonna try to leave an imprint on anybody here, or like? It's a mediumly pleasant time, I guess. Like, there are some. I did note the standout moments. If we want to start getting to parts where I'm like, okay, that was something. Okay. And I think my biggest takeaway was that in at least this movie's estimation, and I don't know if this is true about the broader Black community, Johnny Cochran greater sign Thurgood Marshall ? Is what I wrote, because at one point,
yes.
It's Jamie Foxx and I think Tommy Lee Jones going, and he's like, "This is going to be a big case. You could be like one of the greats." And he lists off some of the great Black lawyers, and he's like, I don't know. And he's like, Thurgood Marshall. He says, "Oh, that's pretty good, but I don't know." He's like, "But Johnny Cochran." And he's like, "Oh, but Johnny Cochran. I'm like,
right.
Johnny Cochran greater than Thurgood." I was confused. I was like, but Thurgood Marshall is the first Supreme Court. I'm like, maybe that's just because that's like white people shit. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I care. Johnny Cochran's like the Black lawyer. Maybe have I learned here?
Well, no. Okay. So, but you
or
have to
think
wrong?
About. Did I go the wrong direction?
You're correct in you're saying what actually happened in the movie. That's absolutely correct that happened in the movie. Okay, good. At least
I understood what happened.
That Jamie Foxx's character, Willie, is like, ooh, but, yeah, Thurgood Marshall, he seems all right.
He's like, he's also, pretty good, what? But, like, not a generational talent like Johnny Cochran. Yeah. But
well, if this is happening, though, concurrently with, the O.J. Simpson case, or right around the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, again, he was like a huge personality, and that is so attractive to a character like Willie. I mean, that's True. The thing. You go to school and Thurgood Marshall might be your hero, but all of a sudden you got this guy who is just like first of all, he's, taking a man who clearly did something and getting him exonerated from it. That's what Willie does on a daily basis. Like that's his job. So that's going to be his, somebody that he holds in highest esteem. And, you put that in there for a reason, because it does get that reaction from the audience. Is like, you're hoping, first of all, that the audience knows who Thurgood Marshall is, and that they also know who Johnny Cochran is. So
I'm just gonna say most people do, because I think the target audience for this is gonna be older, because like
it's gonna skew older.
Because you got Tommy Lee Jones, but like even the young cool guy is Jamie Foxx, so that's like
exactly.
Young cool guy from 20 years ago. So these are like I'm the youngest person watching this movie probably. So that's
and it's a show about about mortuaries. So,
exactly. Yeah, this is all about death. It's a courtroom drama, but in the background it's all about like coffin sales and bullshit. Like it's
right.
It's whatever. And that is like that's like the final pull is when you bring in the church. So did you? I'm assuming you didn't know anything about the real life case, but did you assume this would go? Did you assume this was going to go the way of most things that are televised? Where like we wouldn't be making a movie if the good guys don't win, right? Like
well. Yeah, I agree. The interesting part of this, though, is afterwards I'm looking, not always, but I generally look up a bunch of stuff just to see what the deal is, especially if it's based on a true story. And this movie was tossed around a lot between a lot of people, and finally landed in this director's lap because of COVID. And a project that she was going to do got put off or canceled or whatever. And this is now the project that she picked up. And there were other people. I mean, people were interested in this movie, which I find interesting, because it's not a very compelling, it would be hard to tell the story in a more compelling way than they did. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I see. Alexander Payne was originally attached to direct.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like, I had no idea. I mean, yes, it's a little surprising that it bounced around, but maybe like think about recently. Like we had Trial of the Chicago 7 not too long ago. What other ones? We had but
that's a Trial of Chicago 7. That's a known story. Like everybody knows, not everybody, but that's a well-known story. This is a story. If you polled 100 people in Mississippi, they probably don't know this story.
I'll fix it. Dark Waters with Mark Ruffalo from a couple years ago.
Okay.
Which I thought was great. I like that. See, that's a good action. That also has Bill Camp, by the way, and Bill Camp plays he's the podunk in that movie. He's the bad guy. In that movie he's the podunk, not the bad guy. In this, movie,
but I'm just saying he's the bad guy in this movie. Yeah.
Oh, right. I didn't say. Yeah, but Bill Camp's the bad guy in this, which he's the best character in the. He's the best performance in the movie, in my opinion. But what was I saying? Dark Waters. Yeah, this is like that. But bad. I mean, not that bad, but like bland. I mean, it's dark. Like Dark Waters is like really well shot, and like I still think about the score in that when they're like going into it's so Dark Waters is like a movie. This is like
I'm not sure that this is a compelling enough subject matter for it to be any better than it was, honestly.
I don't think so, but they tried. They tried with the race relations and the big guy screwing the little guy, and they did. Yeah,
but I feel like those are kind of sure, but they're not really. They're kind of misses, because you're still, the biggest part of this movie is David versus Goliath, and that's just, and everything else sort of is overshadowed because of that. I love that the linchpin of this is the fact that he tried to screw over the Baptist church, and then that was the whole. It was one file in a box. I don't know if that's the real case, but it was one file in a box that changed everything. I didn't look into the full details of like in the real life, they gave some things afterwards. They had like, the 150 million instead of the 500 million is what they got. And right.
Like, there's a couple of details, but like
175.
Yeah. I mean, it's a movie. They gotta, tighten things up.
Well, they actually got the 500 million, but then the Canadian guy was like they were like, no, we're appealing, and so they appealed it, and then I guess they settled.
Well, yeah, so I think they said that in like the little in the little ending
Yeah.
credits, like, and the Lowen, I mean, it did like bankrupt them. Like the Lowen Group went out of business like
Right.
a couple years later. So like, it's not like
Right.
like they're not going on. Like they got their comeuppance. They are gone. And I
Yeah.
did think about it though. I did think about it. Like we do have to trust the movie's point of view and like the story we're being told, because in the end of the day, it is just two business like, you know, Tommy Lee Jones is not like a poor. He's framed as the poor downtrodden man, and Gary is, you know, but these are all super hyper wealthy guys on all
Right.
sides. The lawyers, the
Right.
main guy. Like I know it's the downtrodden community, the Lowen Group screwed people over, but like we do have to like just take the movie's word and the court's word that like, yeah, the Lowen Group was the bad guys, and Tommy Lee Jones his practices were all fine, and Gary's never done any weird stuff with his practices either. Like I don't know the history, but like I did watching this, I'm like, there doesn't feel like an authoritative like right and wrong. Like the only right and wrong is because the movie's telling me. I believe you, movie, but like I don't know the real story. It seems like one guy's business just destroyed another guy's business because
Right.
the other guy like fucked up a couple times. But like I don't know if I understand like we get the whole third act where like he's the Lowen Group they bought the church out and they're forcing the salespeople, but like we have to. I don't know. It's presenting in court. We have to believe what's presented to us.
That part of the movie is actually almost a better storyline for another movie. Like that whole piece with the church seems more compelling to me.
You follow a black family of four. They're going to church, and one day their pastor, who they've been trusted for so long, he says, "We have a new co-pastor today from out of town," and he comes on, and he's smiling. He's an older guy. He's like, "I'm just here to help you folks out," and he brings in his team of salespeople. Like, I'm already much more jazzed about that movie than this one. That sounds much more.
Yeah, I think
slowly they take over the church and they start doing. It becomes a whole pyramid schemey thing.
Well, I think that's true, because I think here that, you know, because there's no real, I don't know, character development for anybody. I mean, they try to make Jamie Foxx's character, Willie, I don't know, a little bit, but I don't think so. I think he is just Johnny Cochran. You know, he just is that guy. But I feel like I would watch that other movie more than this. I'm not clear why this is the film that that they decided to give us. Yeah.
I guess, drama.
I mean, wasn't there a book? I think there was a book written, and that's why this is...
I found
an article. Yeah, sorry, an article, yeah.
And New Yorker article. And this feels like a movie based on an article. Like, so many of those kind of things. I think Dark Water is also same thing. Like,
right. Well, we didn't talk about one of the main characters in here, though, and that's this young lawyer that...
I forgot about him.
Yeah, the thing is like, that's the thing about this movie, that nothing actually captures. You are kind of just like wading through this movie. You're like in a wave pool, like, oh, na 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 na, and nothing sticks with you as being more important than something else. You know what I mean? And unless it's that other story that we keep talking about that wasn't being told and wasn't told with this movie.
That goes back to my whole, like, Amazon Prime, their fingerprint is this weird fingerprint of not a real movie. Like, looks and presents like a movie, but isn't a movie. Like, it's a very, like, it's an uncanny valley for movies. Like, there's something, like, so generic. There's something so aggressive. What?
It's the encyclopedia article of a movie.
Yeah.
Like, here's some interesting facts. Here's some stuff to talk about. But we're not going to take you on an actual journey. Like, you're not going to go on a journey with this story. You're just going to learn some stuff.
It doesn't feel like it was made by human beings. I don't know how else to I see the humans on screen, but I think behind the camera there's like no people behind it, and it's just like AI plugging all, like, they're moving the cameras, they're doing the lighting, a button goes off. No.
Wait a minute, though.
That's good. I'm going to go back to my trailer now.
There was a cool shot. There was a shot where they were out at, I think it was, they went to Willie's grandma's house or Willie's mom's house, because Willie always go to his mom's house on Saturday because that's important. And then Tommy Lee Jones
he's
goes
the sixth
there.
of 11 or whatever. They bond over their enormous families.
But the shot is they're out in this field. I don't know if it's supposed to be sugarcane. It doesn't look like sugarcane, but Jamie Foxx is telling a story about when he was 6 years old out cutting sugarcane. And there's a train that goes by and they're on this road. And that's a lovely shot. That's a lovely shot.
Well, that's. I bet it was. I mean, I remember that scene, but like the shot did not stick with me as it did for you. But
I think that was nice. I enjoyed the early to mid 90s music because big Salt and Pepper fan. So why wouldn't I like that? It gave me shades of, what was the movie that was out last year where we reviewed it. They were the preacher and his wife, and oh my gosh, was it Regina King was in it?
Oh, yeah.
Stop!
Honk for Jesus, save your soul.
Yeah. There were shades of that just because of the house, like that Willie lived in, and all that kind of stuff. I felt like, I felt he was half preacher, half lawyer.
It's the southern talking in a big room, like with a suit on. Like you're just like. That all is one guy. Like, it's this one guy who goes in the South and he goes in a room and he's like, I'll tell you what's going on about things. And there people are like, yeah, that's what's happening. And that's messed up. Yeah. And this is what we should do. And that's what God believes. And, that's just what you do. You go into a room with a suit on and you say, you tell the truth. You say what's going on.
I like the little entourage that Willie had. I like the guy that was with him most of the time, but then left him at some point because, maybe that was supposed to be the turning point.
I did forget about that. I was going to point out, like, we get a good array of, like, oh, it's that guy of the character actors of, like, the rotating black guys, basically, in the lawyer stable. But I'm like,
right. The guys in the scene. Well, and also, we started to talk about this young lawyer guy, but he's the one who discovered the Baptist church thing going on. So he was really important to the plot and important to getting Willie there. But that's about it. He just didn't land for me, and he didn't drive very much. Journey Smollett was not good in this. Everybody else I was perfectly fine with. She was not good in this. She's
distractingly bad, actually. She is part of what adds that sheen of fake movie to it. I'm like, if this were a real person, like if this were... switch it to Regina King from Honk for Jesus. Like, that's fine.
Right.
That would have been better.
It would have been better, I think. Yeah, I was not, and that was one of the liberties that the woman the director took, because she likes to have strong women in her movies, and so this was, in real life, that was a man, that was not a woman who was, the main trial lawyer for them.
It's a strange choice for a director, then, if we're going to have a director whose tendencies don't, this is a case of all men. I don't know why we would. You'd think you would have people go with their strengths.
Why you would throw that in? Yeah.
Why would she want to direct this movie? She did fine. It was a fine 3-star. I guess we're at the end here. Do we recommend this? Do we recommend The Burial? Is it worth it, Mama Kay?
Yeah, I already recommended it to a couple people. I'm like, look, if you're looking for something to kind of, why not? Because people just want to have something on in the background. This is an on in the background movie.
I just have to think back though. Like, the thing is, like, I'm not going to recommend this less on like. Not enjoyment, more on principle, because I'm thinking back to those other Amazon Prime movies that had the same exact thing.
You're like, all done Amazon Prime.
And I don't think I recommended that. Like, I don't think I recommended Cassandra. But if you made me watch this or Cassandra again, I'd watch Cassandra way before this. Red, White, and Blue, probably this over that. That was pretty bad.
That was really bad. That was a Hallmark movie.
But they all those three movies I've just said, and maybe we'll test a couple more out in the future, just if we have to do another fill-in episode like this. But like, I'd be curious if the other streaming movies start to feel like this. I haven't noticed. Like, I've noticed like there's a variety in quality, but there is something like I distinctly Amazon Prime about these. I don't know what it is, and I don't.
Well, you might have to get your Netflix back on again so that you can, maybe. check
Yeah,
out.
I
don't know. What do you feel about this? This versus like an Apple TV movie.
Apple TV's been getting better. I don't know. Like
I know.
and everyone's been saying that, and I've a little bit believed it. The thing is, Apple TV, like they had Coda, like that's huge, but like
yeah,
they also have some like, TV things that like I'm not gonna watch that. I watched Severance because Jess told me to, and honestly, that show's great, so it was worth it. But I would want to talk about Severance. Did you watch Severance?
No.
You.
It's.
I would want you to watch it so I could talk to Jess about it and have someone on my side to like on certain parts, because sometimes
what if
I talk
I'm not
to Jess
on your
about
side?
It's not about being on my side. It's just understanding where I'm coming from. Because even when she's not on my side, she doesn't always understand where I'm coming from. You at least understand where I'm coming from, even if you're not on my side.
That's probably true. And also, Jess is pretty unflappable. She has.
Jess is Jess. Jess does not. She will
Jess
not.
is Jess. Yes.
She suffers nothing. She suffers anything that isn't
right.
Jess. She does not. Right. She doesn't have time for it. So.
No. And that's the whole point of, you're on a podcast and you're discussing things. There's, you have to be open to what is happening. So that's, part of it.
Just brings the secret sauce. I only say this because she's never going to listen to this ever in the history of ever. One recommend, and one not recommend for The Burial. The Burial.
Recommend as background.
Books. Yeah, it's recommend as background. Okay,
because it's a good story. I like the story. But
I've done that too recently. I did a background recommend, but like when I do a background recommend, I have to. And this is my difference. I have to feel like the heart is in the right place. When I feel like it's just here because it's a cynical business reason, then if I'm on the fence, I will not give it a pass. If I can feel the care, if I can feel the effort, the attempt, that this came from an artistic place and not a commerce place. Because the truth is, like, I understand movies are a business, but it's also an art form. Like, everything's a business. If you want to do business, go into the other 99%. Then go. Exactly. Then do anything else. Then don't do art, because art should be saved. It's the special place for cool things. Business is everywhere else. But art is cool. So,
but Johnny Cochran over Thurgood Marshall, and that's the problem.
Yeah, that's not a That's. I feel like
that's a problem.
I don't have time to.
We can't unpack that.
We've got. I don't have time, and we don't have time for that. Coming up, we have. I think we're gonna do Five Nights at Freddy's. I know that came out recently, so we're gonna talk about that. I don't really want to, but that's big, so we probably should, right? And then, there's actual Oscar stuff coming soon. I just don't have the names.
We're gonna do Scylla, right?
Oh yeah, Priscilla's coming. Scylla coming. Yeah. I don't think we've done a Sofia Coppola movie yet. I wonder how that's going to go over. I don't know if that's a Jess Nicole vibe, but we'll see.
All right.
She's kind of a sleepy director. She kind of puts people to sleep.
Oh my god! Make them watch Lost in Translation.
Dude, that's her most exciting movie, and it's Storefest.
And I love it.
I like that movie. Much. It's boring though. It is slow.
It is boring, but it's great.
Her best movie is The Beguiled. Have you seen that? I think that's the one where I'm like, there's narrative force behind this. Like, I've never seen Sofia Coppola write something with narrative drive. It was crazy. It was awesome. But
Priscilla, we got it coming.
Yeah, Priscilla's gonna be blonde. That's my prediction. Priscilla's gonna be. Oh no, Priscilla's gonna be good. Priscilla's gonna be good blonde. Priscilla's gonna be like blonde if it were made with some taste.
Okay, well, I'm gonna need
Films with the Women in My Life on Facebook is where you can reach out to me and the show. I am Brennan_podhost on Instagram, and you can email the show filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. YouTube as well. Just search the show's title, Films with the Women. I'll figure out a better way to say that. All right, thanks, YK, for being on for The Burial.
You got it, dude.
Until next time, this is Brendan signing off, saying thanks for listening and enjoy your movies.
Thanks for listening to Films with the Women in My Life. If you enjoyed being a listener in our life, please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Keep up with the latest from the show on Instagram at Brennan_podhost, on Facebook at Films with the Women in My Life, and on Twitter at FilmsWomenPod. Finally, you can email the show with questions and suggestions at filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Original music for the show was created by Ian Burke and Chris Iwanek. Original artwork created by Nicole D'Alessio. This show is produced by Brennan Snyder. Thank you again for listening and enjoy your movies.